Hello, Jenny Hall here for Trinity Stamps. Today I'm going to share one card design, but two different ways. It'll be a slimline card versus a standard card. For both cards, I'm going to use the all spruced up stamp and die set. And you can see how this die works. It cuts away that stamped area and is really cool. Greetings of the Season is going to be the stamp set I'm using for my sentiment. I like to cut my slimline card bases to 8.5 by 7 of 110-pound cardstock, and then I'll score it at the 3.5 mark using my Trinity Teflon scoring tools. These are available in the Trinity store and are fantastic for making your card bases. Now I'm taking that leftover piece of paper, so this is that same 110-pound cardstock, and I've placed it in my Misty 2.0 so that I can get a really great ombre look. I'm using some Atelier inks from Ink on 3, and this is Goddess Green going down first. So I'm going to double stamp that and do 2 layers of ink so that the paper is nice and saturated. Now I'm going to take the Trinity Teal. This is one of the new colors, and it is named after Trinity Stamps. And I'm just placing it around the outside and then taking a cloth and softening that line where the Trinity Teal is on the rest of the stamp, and it's going to give me a gradient look. But what it does when you mix the teal with the green is an absolutely beautiful evergreen color. It's a beautiful blue-green color that is just so dynamic. So I am going to use that and use it on some of the other guys as well. So I decided when I was in the middle of making this that this is a fantastic die to make a shaker card. I don't have any acetate on hand right now, but I did have the outside plastic of a stamp set, and you know, it works out just as well. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to use some foam strips, or you could use foam tape that you cut into strips, but these are some pre-made strips. And I've laid down the acetate first and then put the foam strips on and made sure that I created a barrier. And I, in fact, put a little bit more just to be stabilizing that card front. Now I'm going to put my sentiment onto the card base, making sure I get that done before I add the shaker bits. Now I'm adding the shaker bits, and then I will pull away the release paper and place that die cut right over the top. And that is the easiest shaker card, guys. I love it. And who doesn't love a Christmas shaker card? So inside the shaker are some little bits that look like Christmas trees and some holographic stars. So let's take that same concept on mixing those 2 inks together and do the same thing for some of the other elements of the all spruced up stamp set. So I'm going to double stamp those items that are just on the one portion of the Misty right now. That's switched over to the mini Misty. And I'm doing the same thing by adding the Trinity Teal and then softening that line and applying it, and check it out. It's a beautiful gradient. I've got all the rest of my items loaded into the Misty, and so I'm going to go ahead and stamp them. This is Twiggy Brown, and in that all spruced up stamp set are 2 images that are going to be 2-step stamping. And so one is the twig and the second is the berry. And while I've got that in there, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that poinsettia. All Spruced Up is a absolutely gorgeous stamp set. It lets you make country, homey projects as well as easy and elegant. And I really like how versatile that poinsettia is. And the outside edges of the spruce boughs are just so beautiful when they're stamped. I'm going to take a few Copic markers, and I've listed the colors, and do some really simple color blending on the poinsettia. I chose to make it red instead of white. Now you could stop here and just keep it red stamped on white paper, but I really like the look of this image whenever it's colored. The way that I've created these two cards are really a simple design, and you could adapt this in any kind of a colorway and make it have a totally different feel. Now I'm going to add some splatters with the Glitter and Gold Metallic Watercolor set. These are some watercolors that have been created for Trinity Stamps by an Etsy shop, and they are handmade watercolors. They are so pretty, but they're high quality, and so whenever I use them, I can really see the difference of something that I might have just picked up from the craft store down the road. This is not your down the road craft store watercolors. These are the real deal, guys. They are so fun to work with. So getting the color out onto my palette was really easy. I added some highlights, and then I added some splatters. And I thought, well, I want some splatters on those spruce boughs too. So I just popped back in the negative piece so that the plastic doesn't get the gold on it. And now I'll pull it back away, and there you go. That worked out really easy. Now to build up the front of the card with a design, I'm going to place those really pretty stamped images and just kind of move them around. The little twig and berries is very versatile. I think that I could place it just about anywhere on this project and it would work out. So I'm just kind of trying to work in a visual triangle and make things look pleasing to the eye. And this card is pretty much done. I love that it's a shaker card, and this die set allows, it just like seems natural for this to be a shaker card. I've used this stamp a few other times and stamped it directly onto a card base and done some really pretty ink blending with it, and it works great that way too. But this seems to be the way that I feel more natural with it, that it just kind of works into a shaker design. So here's the finished project, and I've done the same thing again, and now we're going to go and adapt this for a standard card. You can see that I just cut out a portion, and now instead of making this one a shaker card, I'll show you what it looks like just as if we're using it in a regular style. So I've used some foam tape on the back and am trying to just place it as straight as I can. And you notice that I've got foam just on the opposite end, and then I'm just moving it into what would be a normal sized rectangle to where there's even white space on the outside edges. And that's it. That's it. I adapted the Slimline stamp and made it into a regular sized card. So I've stamped some of the images in exactly the same way and even colored them, and I used that little gold watercolor pan set and pretty much take the same design. I'm just making it smaller, and I left out the shaker part of it, and it works out. It works out perfectly. So I hope that maybe this will help you in some of your Christmas card designs. If you see an idea that is a regular standard size card and you want to adapt it to a slimline, you can do that easily, and vice versa. Now I would love to hear what are your thoughts. Please leave a comment and say which version you like better, and what do you think about adapting a regular slimline design into an A2 sized card. Thank you for watching with us at Trinity Stamps, and please subscribe to our channel for more inspiration.